Hey guys, welcome to Big Sister. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching my channel, my content. Please don't forget to like, share, and to subscribe. And just check out the little things that I do have here. Nice bite-sized information that I think will be helpful, beneficial, and even encouraging to you guys. So guys, I want to talk with you about a few things. One thing specific. We're going to talk about relationships, okay? And I'm going to share one that I was in. And this relationship was so different. It was different to really pinpoint and to process a lot of things that was going on because of how nice the person was. You know, it's one thing if you're dating a person and they're just a jerk the entire time. But what do you do when you're going out with someone who is kind and polite and considerate, all while doing things that are detrimental to the relationship? You know, how do you deal with the smiling and understanding and patient and loving cheater? The smiling, loving, and understanding and romantic liar or manipulator. You understand? How is it that you deal with someone who, on one end, in one perspective, they're doing things that's hurting the relationship, but then they're saying we need to go to counseling. We need to go to counseling. What do you do with someone that repeatedly betrays your trust, does things that can be very detrimental to the relationship, that breaches loyalty? But at the same time, they're taking you on the most wonderful trips. They may be writing you poetry. They will cry and grovel and beg for forgiveness. They're wonderful to your family. They love to buy you beautiful gifts and presents. What do you do with that? Well, at one point, I was going to marry an individual like this. And things came up so often, and there were so many concerns on my end, things that I start to see that was opposite of what we both said we were. You know, our values, our beliefs, our ethics were matching, but it turns out they were not. And I remember as the wedding is approaching, so many things were being uncovered and found out. And there was a lot of little arguments that we were having, but enough where it was concerning to me. And so now we're arguing about things that we once agreed that was unacceptable for relationships, that this is not what he does and this is not what I will do. And all of a sudden, this is a problem. But yet our wedding is approaching. And when I say it's approaching, I mean we have guests, we have a wedding planner, I have dress fittings, my friends are coming, my family, both our families are going to be there, and all hell is breaking loose. And I remember at some point I told him, maybe we should just push this wedding back. Maybe we need to wait a year. What do you do when the person really wants to marry you anyway? Or really wants to continue the relationship anyway? They don't want time apart. They don't want to wait. I couldn't understand it. And sometimes if you're not understanding it, you think that this person loves you so much that they want to be with you no matter what. And so we kept on going. But it hit a point where I knew I could not do it anymore. It just hit this point, a realization that what I'm dealing with and what we are constantly Hey guys, I'm sorry I got kicked out. But what I'm saying is, after the constant arguing and fighting and bickering, I realized that this is something that was not short term. This is something that is here to stay, and it was not getting better, it was getting worse. So, despite these things and concerns that I had, he still wanted to get married. But things just hit a point that I couldn't do it anymore. You see, sometimes you can mistake a person wanting to be with you all the time as love. But sometimes what it is, you have to understand that maybe the person will benefit being with you. Or maybe they just think that type of thing is normal. There are people who believe that having constant arguments and bickering and fighting and cheating and breaking each other's heart and making up to break up and getting back together and breaking promises, that is a normal cycle for them. And they think that is love and that is relationship, but it's not. A lot of times what happens is people have certain issues and situations that's going on in their lives, certain patterns of behaviors that they have either witnessed from their childhood or they took up as a defense mechanism, as a way to protect themselves from others who may have hurt them in the past, and it's worked for them. And while they're protecting themselves, they're hurting other people. They learn to be deceptive. They learn to be that they become conditioned to toxic ways of being. A lot of times we're living in times where people just move from relationship to relationship to relationship, and they don't reconcile what happened in the past relationship. They don't look at not only the person that's done things, but they don't look at themselves to learn about themselves. Sometimes they're the ones that messed it up, and they don't want to face themselves. They'll blame the other person, right? So now this entire time they've been doing things to that individual, and when the person begins to react, perhaps the person becomes mean, that is their focus as to why the relationship didn't work. And that's what they will focus on that individual. The person reacts finally after they've endured so much poor treatment, and the person who's abused them, now they're going to jump on that and say, well, this is why I can't be with you, and this is why we broke up. So they take that, they never look at themselves, and they jump into the next relationship and continue that pattern of behavior. At the same time, if you're on the flip side of it, where you were mistreated, you really wanted the relationship to work, you were compromising, you were being faithful, you were forgiving, you were being there, and the person continued to do things and you eventually leave, you can leave and then you're just talking about that other person and how terrible they were. But you never examine yourself and question, why did I stay with this person all this time? Why did I allow them to do this to me? If you don't learn that, you'll keep going and picking up on the same person, or you're going to become this really bitter, mean-spirited individual who now you become just like the individuals that hurt you. So that toxicity is not normal. It's not something you should get used to. There are relationships you can be in and you are happy most of the time. A majority of the time you are happy. You don't have to worry about the person cheating on you. There are people that will not cheat. There are people who will not deliberately lie on you. There are people who will not come into your life and destroy your life. These people do exist. And there is no two individuals that can live together, be married, and everything is always going to be perfect every single day. But what you will learn is that while you disagree, you are not going to cross lines where you will breach the trust, the loyalty, the respect. These individuals do exist. But people compromise and they get afraid and they get scared and they think because this person keeps begging to be with you that it's love. Because a person wants to marry you no matter what bad is happening, you think it's love. No, this is a person that's willing to continue to try to have a relationship and a marriage, even though there are red flags and toxicity. And sometimes this person knows this is who they are and they want to get you to that altar. They need to lock you in. They need to plant a baby in you. They need to trap you with a child because they know that they're horrible individuals, or they know that they have some really questionable characteristics and ways of behaving. And it's important that they either trap you with really great intimacy, sex, and now your mind is blown because of how wonderful it is, or now you're stuck with them because you're pregnant by them, or they became pregnant by you, and now you're in a marriage with children and bills and whatever, and now you feel like you have to stay. I struggled with it because there were so many good things about this person, like almost a dream come true. But there's something that you have to learn. You have to learn the difference between certain attributes or qualities a person have and their character. It's two different things. A person could have really great qualities, but their character is shot. Just like a person can have wonderful characteristics, right? But maybe they're not the best looking. Maybe they're not as tall. Maybe they're not as short as you want them to be. Maybe they're not as skinny. Maybe they're not as fat as you want them to be. And those are physical attributes. But maybe they're a little bit wonky. They're not that talented. They don't have they don't dress that well. But at the core of them, they're an upstanding individual. So what happens a lot of times is people are blinded, manipulated, and deceived by these qualities that the individual have, and then you think those qualities is indicative of their character. They're people of poor character. Character is who they are. What a person does a majority of the time, that is who they are. Not what they do sometimes. And what they do on a regular basis. This is who they are. The nice, sweet little things, those may be some qualities, good qualities that they have, but that is not the same as their character. If you've watched crime shows, you see these people, they're mass murderers, but you look at their life, they have a great house, they have a great job, they went to school, they did this, they did that, they were doing all this stuff in the community, they were helping the youth, they were donating. Those are their qualities, but that is not their character. And so I broke off the engagement. I broke off the relationship. I called David's bridals, let them know we don't need to do any fittings anymore. I called all my friends, told them we're not doing this anymore. I called the wedding planner, told her, scratch the menu, scratch the venue, call the guests. I mean, he probably called the guests on his side. I called my parents, called my immediate family, let them know. Didn't get all into the details immediately, but I broke it off. Because I was not willing to spend the remainder of my life or any portion of my life going through anything like that. There are people that, they want counseling, but they don't want to change. It's possible a person will cry and beg, but they won't change, and maybe they want to, but they can't. But that is not your responsibility. That's something they have to deal with on their own. Sometimes these things are to just keep you there. but they never change. They want counseling, but they're not necessarily going to take the counseling. They'll give you beautiful gifts and wonderful things, but they will not give you the greatest gift, the most important gift, which is their faithfulness, which is their loyalty, which is their word should mean something, which is their protection. And so it's very easy to be caught up in the qualities, but their character is always going to come in and negate those things. You're going to wonder, why is this person so nice, do all these nice things for me, but then you realize that they'll betray you? Why is this person, they will take me on the most wonderful trips, but at the same time, you'll find out they've lied about some things, that they're not faithful, that they're not honest. Because their character is subpar. And there are lots of people who marry individuals based on their qualities. They're in relationship with people based on their qualities. They are in friendships, and they continue to be in friendships with certain individuals based on their qualities and the attributes that they have, but they ignore their character. And their character is what they do. That's why it says, don't believe what a person says. Believe, or what they say. Believe what they do. What they are consistently doing. If a person is consistently inconsistent, you can't trust that. And whether it's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a wife, a husband, a best friend, you have to see that this person is broken. And they need to work on themselves. And that is not your job. They need to still grow. And doesn't mean that you sit around waiting for them to grow and to become this person you want them to be and keeping your life on hold. So for me, there were great qualities and attributes about him that I really liked and I thought was wonderful. But at the end of it all, this was not someone that I was going to marry. This was not a person that I can carry into my life, because despite his wonderful qualities, his character was nothing close to what I consider to be core values and beliefs. It did not match mine. And most times, it brought me great unhappiness and even tears. And at that point, I had to look at myself and say, why am I making these choices? I broke it off. He went his way. I went my way. And I went through time of self-examination of why didn't I go from day one? And a lot of things that I learned was because, well, I didn't want to seem, even though I knew that I could have left very early in, I thought that would make me appear to be cold-hearted and not merciful, so to speak. And I dealt with that. And I also dealt with other things. I was able to really, really discover some things about myself, why I did these things. And I dealt with those things, got the counsel that I needed, and made the change that I needed to make so that I will not make the same mistakes again. I didn't sit around going, oh, he's so horrible. I'm not negating the disappointment and the hurt that I felt, but at the same time, I had to take accountability for myself as far as what I allowed. And once I did that, I healed. And now I'm here to share that with you. Just don't be afraid to take the leap. A lot of people, the reason why they end up staying in certain types of relationships is because they're too scared. And we live in times where people are so toxic. You get toxic advice. They'll tell you to stay with a person. They'll want you to focus on the qualities of this person. They want you to focus on your age. They'll make you feel like you'll never get this opportunity again. You think about how great this friend has been when they let you sleep on their couch and all these things and this person. And so you will feel like because they did some nice things for you, you are supposed to be tolerant of abuse. No, you shouldn't. Otherwise, you'll become like them, or you live a life so miserable and so low energy that you will never really understand or experience true happiness and what it means to have a wholesome relationship, whether it's platonic or something deeper. All right, guys, hope this makes sense. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think or any experiences you may have had. All right, guys.